Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special Real Mushrooms for Pets Facebook Live. My name is Joni Kamlet, and I'm the Director of Veterinary Education and Outreach, and I'm here tonight with my colleague and mentor, Dr. Rob Silver. And tonight we're going to be, Dr. Silver is going to be sharing information about the canine respiratory virus that I'm sure, you've probably all heard about it. It's been in the news a lot. I think it started up in the Pacific Northwest. Last I heard it, it spread to about 16 states. And there's just a lot of kind of mystery to what it is. And so Doc Rob has kindly offered to illuminate us about this illness and what we can do to support our pets. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Joni, and thanks for everyone for attending tonight. I know there's a lot of concern about this disease for your pets, especially if you have them in doggy daycare or boarding or go to play dates or outdoor types of events.
Okay,
so they call this the mystery illness because they have not been able to identify a specific disease-causing agent, viral or bacterial. The University of New Hampshire has been involved in this work, and they recently isolated a bacteria, but they're not sure but they haven't found it in any other cases anywhere else in the U.S. And sometimes when you get an infection, it depletes your immune system's ability to fight off secondary infections like bacterial infections.
Yeah.
So there's about I think currently they're saying 12 states, not 16. My own state of Colorado is involved, and so there've been a lot of information on the Colorado Veterinary Medical Association website. And one of the big veterinarians at CSU, Mike Lappin's been big on this infectious disease thing. But I think the most important summary to date, which came out yesterday from the AVMA, quoted a Canadian researcher named Scott Weiss, who's a specialist he's a veterinarian and a specialist in disease and disease-causing agents. And so I've summarized a lot of these findings here. The main states are Colorado, New Hampshire, and Oregon. There's been over 200 case reports from vets since August of 2023, but really the disease has kind of emerged sometime in July. And so from what they can tell, it appears as though there may be multiple disease agents causing this. None of them are new. And Dr. Weiss, actually, he says he doesn't think this is a new disease. He thinks this is a new spin on an old disease, which is that he blames the pandemic and the fact that during the pandemic, so many dogs did not go to doggy daycare, did not get their intranasal vaccination for kennel cough, which, that pro or con vaccinations can be very helpful in reducing the incidence of this infectious disease, especially if you're boarding your animal. So his thinking is that also that animals have not been exposed to other animals, because you can develop a natural immunity from exposure without actually getting the disease. And in fact, animals who have been vaccinated for kennel cough shed, and so other animals that are around them can also gain protection. So he feels that this is similar to infectious tracheobronchitis. It appears to be fairly limited. The curve that shows the rate of incidence shows that we spiked, but now we're starting to go down. Which is probably what they call herd health and natural immunity being caused. So we have a document that we're going to share with you, and which basically I'm reading off of, so it's the same information. But the experts, and they call this canine infectious respiratory disease complex. But kennel cough, which is called infectious tracheobronchitis, is caused by 3 organisms. It's caused by the bacteria Bordetella, which is the same organism that causes whooping cough in humans, and canine parainfluenza, which is an influenza virus as it sounds, and then canine adenovirus type 2. Type 1 causes hepatitis, type 2 is upper respiratory. So his feeling is that this is probably very much the same thing. We're just hitting a population that's weaker. And with the weaker immune system, this is why I thought it was important for us to speak with you all tonight, because I can think of no better prevention or no better interventional treatment in addition to whatever might conventionally be recommended than mushrooms.
Of course.
In your ability to prevent disease or reduce the severity of disease. And one reason they do that is because they're beta glucans, which you've talked about in the past. And there's several studies in humans that show that the use of fairly low dosages of beta glucans in these group homes, where there may be children or there may be the populations of people that are displaced and in these group homes, that when they would apply the beta glucans to them at fairly low dosages, they had statistical significant reduction in the incidence of upper respiratory disease. Wow. So this is where, you hear us like a broken record talking about the
five defenders. Yeah.
Five defenders would be a great place to go. Our immune chews, even better, really, because there's several strong immune modulating herbs in those chews, in addition to our 5 defender mushrooms. But let me just, before we go open up for questions and everything, and I'm sure everybody's going to want me to calculate their dosages for their animal. I'll do my best. I'm mentally sharp tonight.
You're just so good at it, Rob. We can't help ourselves.
you just like me playing with my little calculator there.
That's right.
Anyway, this expert panel that had both Dr. Weiss and Dr. Lappin and I've known Dr. Lappin for years from CSU. He's a brilliant guy. It says, 1, do not panic if your dog coughs, but remain vigilant about your dog's health and contact your veterinarian if you have concerns. That's what veterinarians are for. Signs that warrant a visit to your veterinarian include a lingering cough, weakness, loss of appetite, difficulty breathing, worsening of the illness, and cough that is sufficiently severe to cause your dog to vomit, and that's severe, or make it hard to breathe. It's especially important to see a veterinarian if you've got an old dog, a young dog, and what we call brachiocephalic dogs. These are the pugs and the Bostons, and the Frenchies, and among others.
Squishy-faced dogs.
If you're compromised, pregnant, or an underlying heart or lung problem, those are other good reasons. So in many ways, it's like COVID. It's not COVID, but the same things that we learned about ourselves and about the risk factors about COVID for humans, right, I think hold true here. And there actually have been a few cases of dogs dying from this. So in the wrong individual, it could be very severe and potentially terminal. And that's why I think it's important to start these mushrooms ASAP.
Yeah. Strong immune system is the best defense.
Absolutely.
And, I find it interesting, Dr. Rob, talking about, this spiking going down. I mean, on the human side, like I'm hearing about all the children respiratory illness surge, and just, like where I am in Virginia, there's a huge surge in respiratory illness right now. And we were all, we're mingling more. So dogs too. So that does make a lot of sense.
It does. It does. And so let's
let's take some
going
questions, and thanks folks for popping in to listen. Your disclaimer. Thank you, Jordan. And thanks for Jordan behind the scenes, who is going to be posting the questions. And
so my disclaimer is, yes, I'm a veterinarian, and yes, I want to help your animal, but without a legitimate medical relationship between us, I can't really give you medical advice, but I will be giving you educational advice, which is very similar to medical advice, but not really being a doctor treating
general. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, there we go.
Thank you. So the first question, I bought turkey tail and 5 defenders from you. Can they help prevent this upper respiratory virus?
Absolutely. If you weren't to use turkey tail, 5 defenders, I think turkey tail would be the second best choice, because it has such a high percentage of beta glucans, such a high percentage of triterpenes, and is known as an antiviral agent, right, and an anti-infectious agent, as well as it's renowned for addressing cancer. So either of those would be fine. And remember, 5 defenders has the turkey tail in it, and that's one reason I recommend it.
Right. But if you wanted to add a little extra turkey tail, there'd be no problem with that.
Wouldn't
Sure.
hurt. Mm-mm.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Awesome. Hope that helps. The next question, does this virus survive on surfaces or would transmission be only with direct contact? That's a great question.
Well, the recommendation from our expert panel that I didn't go into details was yes, after handling your animals, wash your hands. I guess that would include surfaces. It's thought to be, spread through droplets, just like, we thought about COVID and like the flu is. So, so close contact versus direct contact versus touching, but the close contact, of course, puts you closer to that mist of infectious moisture that comes out when they cough or sneeze or even when they breathe. So, if your animal has this, of course, show caution. Don't invite, don't take it out and don't invite other animals over and watch your own personal hygiene. And if you have other animals in the household that don't have it, try to keep them separate if that's possible within your configuration. If not, then just apply those mushrooms.
Yeah.
And I'd like to promise you that using the mushrooms is going to protect, and it may reduce the severity of the disease, but it definitely will be better than not giving them.
There's no downside to giving the mushrooms because they're going to support in other ways anyway. Like just taking mushrooms daily is not just going to protect against this virus. It's going to support the immune system, have anti-inflammatory benefits, and a myriad of other support for the whole body. So what is the next question? What are the best mushrooms to keep a senior dog safe from this virus?
Okay, well, we're going to sound like a broken record.
We are.
But I think, senior dogs would benefit from the 5 defenders. And I just think using a higher dosage, starting lower and working your way up slowly just to ensure that your dog isn't one of those that might react to higher dosages of it. But we do want to see, a larger amount of it. So if you're using this is generic for everybody, maybe I'll avoid some questions, but if you're using the 5 defenders in the powder format, then I would recommend 1/4 of a teaspoon twice daily for every 10 pounds of body weight. So that's a pretty good amount, and it might be that's more powder than your dog wants to choke on down. So we also have it in 2 sizes of capsules. We've got a larger sized capsule under the human label and a smaller sized capsule under the pet label. The pet labeled capsule is about exactly the same as 1/8 of a teaspoon of powder. So you could take that same recommendation, 2 capsules twice daily for every 10 pounds of body weight. Yes, that is quite a bit. I'd rather err on the side of too much than too little, since we know mushrooms are safe. I think you probably could get by with a lower dosage. I don't have any guidelines except my own experience using these things and treating animals who are ill and how to dose them.
Yeah.
And I think somewhere in that ballpark would be very effective.
I want to throw another mushroom out there, Doc Rob, which is the cordyceps.
Okay.
So would you recommend cordyceps as well? Or only if like for a dog that's not showing any symptoms, or let's say a dog did come down with this virus, do you think cordyceps would be a good turkey tail to add to the protocol?
I think that cordyceps would be good if it goes to pneumonia. If it goes deeper into the lungs. It depends on what stage it's in.
Right.
I believe, just based on the research and what's published about these mushrooms, that I do think the turkey tail and 5 defenders would be better as a preventative and in general in the early stages of the disease.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it's got the 5 defenders has the reishi in there as well, which is such a wonderful immune support. I mean, everything that chaga.
Yeah, it's
power-packed blend. Yeah.
Now, I would say, and we did. Can we talk about that? We're launching the Daily Dawg on the 18th.
Yes, we can talk about the Daily Dawg.
The Daily Dawg has 7 mushrooms in it.
Yes.
5 defenders plus the cordyceps plus lion's mane.
Yeah.
It has some very strong immune modulating herbs in it and adaptogens and so on.
Everything.
Yeah, so the 5 defenders wouldn't be a bad choice either. I think it would not be as cost effective protection as to use the pouches of the 5 defenders or turkey tail, just in terms of pennies per milligram and pennies per pound, that kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about Daily Dawg a little bit more at the end, but just
We
for
will.
people that are curious, this is the new product. It's our new product that's coming out. It's launching on December 18th. And gosh, I'm so excited about it. I got and my dog Scruffy loves it. My cat Carmen, even though it's a dog, quote, a dog product, my cat Carmen loves it too. And I think y'all are gonna be very, very excited when you get it in your hands, which will be soon.
I have it in my hands.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There we go, the dog. It's the dog.
It's the dog. Yeah, and it's a powder, and you can mix it in the food, and it's in a base of krill powder, so it's got this wonderful fishy umami smell to it, and I don't know. It's every dog that I've tried it out with in my community, they're kind of going nuts over it. So, and it will be a great mushroom, a great blend for also for proactive immune support on a daily basis. Yeah. And somebody actually, I'm just seeing a question: are the other pet ones specific to dogs? No. Dogs and cats can take all of our mushrooms.
Yeah, they're just different configurations, different sizes. One's a bulk powder, one's a large capsule, one's a small capsule, one's a soft chew. It's nice to have a lot of choices because our pets aren't always the same in terms of what their preferences are for things we give them.
Yeah, and the real mushrooms for pets products, the capsules are 300 milligrams as opposed to the human capsules, which are 500 milligrams. Doc Rob was taking smaller animals, cats, into account when he created that smaller capsule. So it's just a matter of like finding like my cat will eat it. Will eat the mushrooms. Some cats do, some cats don't. Some mushrooms are more palatable for cats than others.
What mushroom does your cat eat?
She's from the 5 Defenders.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, she eats everything. Yeah, she's eating it up. And now I'm trying the Daily Dawg. So in the morning she gets 5 Defenders, and at night she gets the Daily Dawg. And she barked at me the other night, so I think it's working. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Yeah, we all have bad cats, but we won't talk about them.
That's right. Oh my gosh, the stories we could tell you about our bad cats.
I think I have yours.
Yeah, but we digress. Let's get back to the questions. Next question, is giving a mushroom blend for this respiratory illness as good as giving each mushroom individually? Are you providing more mushroom strength by doing it individually?
So, that's certainly one way to go. My suggestion would be, since they're already blended together and one easy product to purchase, why not just give more of that to increase the total level? And if you use the beta glucan content, and the beta glucans really are the important part of this, then it doesn't really matter. Just dose by the beta glucans in there, which would be 20% beta glucans in the 5 Defenders, which would be 200. Well, anyway, but would be 1/8 of a teaspoon for every 10 pounds of body weight twice daily as a baseline, and maybe 1/4 teaspoon twice daily.
Yeah.
Higher. Yeah, or more capsules, either way.
Right. And there's also that study about, mushrooms that, working better in synergy. The study that came out on shiitake, maitake, and reishi, where they found that each of those mushrooms worked very well on its own, but when combined, there was increased efficacy. So, and all 3 of those mushrooms are in the 5 Defenders.
Yeah, I would say if you wanted to give a single mushroom, I would go with the turkey tail, and I would dose that high.
Yeah. Well, I do, like with my dog, I do the 5 Defenders in the morning, and I do the turkey tail at night. And now, of course, she's also getting the Daily Dawg on top of that. So she gets a lot of mushrooms every day, but she also outruns all the other dogs in the community, and she's 12 years old now. So
I've been watching her on TikTok, by the way.
Oh, have you? I know. She's going viral on TikTok. A little
It is.
Debbie.
Yeah, and it's great music you have in the
Oh
background.
my gosh, yeah. I'm starting
What
to enjoy
what's
TikTok.
the big
Finding
message?
my way around TikTok.
Yeah. Well, let's go for the next question.
Yeah. So Gail's asking, so glad to hear more on the subject. We're in Maine and haven't heard anything about incidents of it here. And our vet said they actually have even fewer incidents of kennel cough so far this year. Interesting.
Well, that's good, because the University of New Hampshire, which is kind of right next door, sort of, is seeing more cases up there. That's one reason
Hmm.
they're involved in this study.
Yeah. I know there's cases in California too, Los
Mhm.
Angeles, San Francisco.
Mm.
I
I
sadly have a friend whose dog passed away from it
gosh, yeah.
in the Bay Area. Yeah, 8-month-old Bernese Mountain Dog. So yeah,
Wow, that's must
yeah,
have been
yeah.
must have
Hit-
been, and burners are known to have issues with their immune system, so maybe it was something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, and I do know that the dog had been to the vet, gotten some treatments, seemed to be doing better, and then
Mm.
kind of crashed pretty suddenly. So that
And
was
they didn't have it on mushrooms, did they?
no,
Yeah.
no,
Okay. Well,
no.
maybe hopefully that might have well, can't
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. So next question, Debbie, can this be spread through sharing a yard if they are let out one at a time?
well, we believe it to be airborne, and so I would say outdoors it's much less of a risk, especially if they're not outside together at the same time. So I think probably that would be a safe approach to go. And again, all the little things we've learned or didn't learn during COVID, as far as distancing and how it spreads and everything else are definitely things that we should apply here. And hopefully we've learned a little bit from all that.
Yeah. Yeah. But really, I mean, overwhelming, like it's a strong immune system is going to support, I mean, there's going to be less parasites, less, uh, just overall better general good health and more ability to kind of fight off something like this. So proactively giving mushrooms, really, really important. Um, so how long, Debbie's asking, how long does it survive on surfaces?
Well, let me repeat that we don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
So it's impossible to say for sure. Um, and if your dog is actively coughing and whatnot, then there's a chance for the aerosol from that to land on surfaces. And I think a little bit of hygiene and cleanliness is probably a good idea, especially in the absence of our knowing how long it survives. But I think primarily the infectious aspect of it is airborne. So I don't think it's nearly as much of a concern as far as them picking it up from a surface,
Yeah.
licking the surface or something like that. I think it really has to be inhaled into their respiratory system.
So would you say like probably indoor would be more cautionary, having a group of dogs indoors as opposed to
Well, yeah, just simply because they're contained and
exactly.
all their little droplets that could be infectious are in the air where they could possibly breathe it in and then become infected with it if they're susceptible to it. There always is that interaction. It's not just that the disease causing agent can cause disease, it has to have an opening in the host in terms of their immune system, which again is why we think mushrooms are the
Yeah.
way to go. And we can
Yeah.
get that immune system up and running the way it should be, then we should not really have that too much concern whether if our animals contract that our animals would contract it.
What are in addition to mushrooms, can you think off the top of your head maybe some other, other
Well,
things?
I'm fond of many Chinese herbs, but I would say there's some Western herbs that are fairly accessible to most people. Like I think the echinacea
Echinacea,
wooden
absolutely.
seal, very good combination. Echinacea, especially for upper respiratory disease and viruses in particular. The golden seal is
Yeah,
antiviral, but also is nicely antibacterial as
right,
well.
right,
So
right.
um, golden seal is becoming a bit endangered. It's being over harvested because it's such a good herb. There
Right.
are other herbs that work just as well as it does in terms of infection. Oregon grapefruit would be one, and barberry would be the other.
Um, Andrographis, another one that antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal.
Yeah, I
Um,
was just trying to
of
think of something that might be more readily available
Yeah,
to consumers
absolutely.
who don't have access to more advanced herbs like Andrographis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, echinacea, definitely,
Mm.
definitely a good one. And getting fresh food,
Food,
exercise, sun, all of that wonderful, wonderful stuff. Um,
yes, absolutely.
so the next question from LH, I have a 90-pound lab who is on a steroid for allergies right now. Is
Mhm.
he more susceptible to the virus, and can I do a higher dose for him without any interactions?
Yes and yes. Yeah, the steroid for the allergies is probably a relatively low dose, and hopefully it's at that point where it's lowered now. So it may not be immune suppressive so much as anti-inflammatory. But yes, especially just having that problem of allergies and the immune system's response to it does make him potentially more susceptible. So yes, higher dose, no interactions. There's no interactions with our mushrooms and steroids. It just doesn't happen.
Do you wanna do a calculation on that one, Rob, by chance? Maybe to, so if it's
Well, if you're using, let's say, the Five Defenders powder, which would actually be very good for your lab's allergies as well.
yeah,
We've discussed that in prior meetings. And if you're using the powder, and labs are pretty good about eating stuff like that, except my own lab. Um, and we go like a quarter of let go like an eighth of a teaspoon per 10 pounds of body weight. That's nearly a teaspoon twice daily, I'd say would be a pretty nice dosage for that lab. If he would accept it, I would start with a quarter teaspoon twice daily. Let's get something in there, make sure he gets used to it, and then gradually ramp it up. There's the
right,
rare occasional dog that seems to have some sort of a unusual reaction to the mushrooms at higher dosages, which sometimes causes diarrhea. So by gradually increasing it to where we want to go to a pretty high place, we can help to avoid that.
yeah, yeah, awesome. I hope that helps, LH, and, just putting it out there like we do probably at every lab, a reminder that mushrooms are more like functional food. They're therapeutic, but they're also like foods.
Yeah.
So, they're very, very safe,
Hmm.
for most animals, I mean, there's
Yeah.
could be, like Rob said, the rare animal that has a reaction, but, for the most part, they're very, very safe.
Hmm.
And LH says, "Thank you, that's so helpful."
Hmm.
So, Self Selena says, "May I please ask if I purchase powder for him, can I administer too much? Is it recommended to serving size or weight?" Oh, the powders, the dosage, yeah.
Yeah. We would dose it by weight. Because there's so many different sizes of animals. With humans, we kind of just use a single dose. So yeah, it has to be administered by weight. And then my recommendation of an eighth of a teaspoon to a quarter of a teaspoon, just starting at the eighth of a teaspoon level per 10 pounds of body weight twice daily. We don't really find a problem with too much, but there is the occasional animal that too much might be too much, for them. So just that's
Yeah,
why starting with a lower dosage and gradually increasing it over a period of a week or two is wise.
yeah, absolutely. Next question. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My vet's Cindy Morrow. Oh, Dr. Morrow.
Yeah.
Said she's treated several respiratory dogs, including dogs who hadn't been exposed to any other dogs and developed symptoms. Huh.
Yeah,
That's
well,
one.
Cindy Morrow is one of the best vets I know. She's amazing. So you're
Yeah.
so lucky to have her.
Yes, absolutely. She's amazing. But that's interesting that dogs that don't seem to have had any exposure or coming to, with other dogs.
Airborne.
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 Airborne. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Hope says it's in Maine. She's in Maine too.
Okay.
Heard of cases and know of someone's dog who was very ill. Thankfully, he's recovering, but still
Mhm.
has the cough. And
You know,
he's
elderberry syrup's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
as another alternative to echinacea and whatnot. And they have it in pediatric types of formulas. So
Yeah. I'm
I
just going
think,
to.
yeah.
Yeah, so she's mentioned, just for people that are listening and not reading, so that's why I read the whole question.
Yeah.
Although Rob, I know you just want to get in and answer that question. So Hope says
I'm
she's
sorry,
using
I jumped in on it, didn't
for
I?
my holistic vet for my senior. I'm hoping to add mushrooms as well if he tolerates it. I know that I like when I listen to lives, I'm not watching them. I'm, doing the dishes or cleaning the house and listening. So that's why I do like to read these so people can kind of follow along. Yeah. Yeah.
All righty.
Gently Fierce, although this is about mushrooms, they're suggesting adding ashwagandha powder, astragalus, moringa powder, chlorella,
Sure.
spirulina, turmeric. Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
All of those are wonderful. And a couple of those are in the Daily Dawg.
We have the ashwagandha, astragalus, and chlorella.
And the chlorella powder. Yeah. So Rob put cracked cell chlorella in the Daily Dawg, ashwagandha, astragalus, Saccharomyces boulardii. I just love saying that. Saccharomyces boulardii. Fucoidan, which is also what black.
That's a specialized seaweed polysaccharide.
Yep.
There's a lot of research showing amazing influence on the immune system.
Yeah. Yeah. And milk thistle. So all kinds of, yeah. Turmeric is not in the Daily Dawg.
No.
Yeah, that's one that's probably like the only thing that's not in the Daily Dawg. So Lorraine says, hi, I've been using 5 Defenders for my 6-year-old Shiba Inu for a couple years as a preventative. He eats a raw diet. I recently also started adding turkey tail and reishi for prevention. Is that okay?
Yes, it's very good.
Absolutely.
Both turkey tail and reishi are in the 5 Defenders. So, I'm fine with what you're doing, but if you wanted to keep it simple, you could just give a higher dosage of the 5 Defenders.
Yeah, you could. So Lorraine's following up about the golden seal and echinacea. Can you get those over the counter for humans? How much do you dose for a 32-pound dog?
Yes, you can get them over the counter for humans. You can also get them for animals. There's a nice website. He does a really good job. It's called Animal Apothecary. Greg Tilford is an herbalist, and he's made some very nice echinacea formulas for pets that would also give you some guidance. But basically, I would, if the bottle is for humans and you look at the dosage for humans, I would take the weight of your animal and divide it by 150 and take that fraction and multiply that by the dosage in order to figure out how to prorate down the dosage of the echinacea golden seal. Echinacea golden seal is also very safe, and you're probably better off giving more than giving less. But if you want some starting point for how to give it, then that's what I would recommend how you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Great suggestion. Just following up, the person who goes to see Dr. Morrow said that all of Dr. Morrow's respiratory dogs recovered fine, including a puppy who developed bad pneumonia. Mushrooms, artemisia, and traditional Chinese medicine herbs. So that's great.
Interesting. She's using the artemisia for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
He's very smart.
Yeah. Yep. Fantastic. So LH is asking, are the powders for pets the same as the powder for people? I'm in New Hampshire and friends' pets are sick with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in fact, we don't have a bulk powder labeled for pets yet. We're going to be, because we already have those for humans. So we're going to be coming out with blends of bulk powders, like let's say, lion's mane and cordyceps or something like that have specific clinical purposes to use those blends. So stay tuned. That's coming out. We're getting started with those in January.
Yeah. But in the meantime, the powders that are on our website can be used for both dogs and humans. There are not veterinary dosages on the powders. So when you receive them, I think, Jordan,
we do stuff. There's a menu item that says for pets. If you buy the powder off of the menu item for pets, then we put an insert into that package, because then we know it's for a pet. That would give you some dosing guidelines.
Well, that's what I was about to ask Jordan. Have we started to do that yet? Sure. I just wanted to make sure that because I know we created those. I just wasn't sure if they're going in the pack.
Good point, Joni.
in the packages yet. So I'm not sure if our fulfillment center was going to receive those and put them in. But if not, we do just contact us. Doc Rob made a dosage chart going up to like 200. What was it? Up to 200 pounds for dogs. Yeah. So we're here. If you get it, and if you don't know the dosage, just reach out to us, and we can walk you through that. Get that chart to you. So the next question. I give mushroom here to hopefully prevent the valley fever virus we have here in Arizona, also airborne. Yeah, that's a scary virus.
Yeah, it's actually not a virus. It's actually a fungus, Coccidioides mycosis, and it's not super airborne. They get it from nosing around in the dirt, where you are, because it's everywhere. So yeah, definitely mushrooms would be a good preventative, hopefully, for that. Until they come up with some sort of a vaccine. It's a nasty disease.
Yeah. For humans too, it's getting really bad in the human population as well.
Exactly. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So the next question, my lab has lymphoma and right now pneumonia. I'm going to start with turkey tail. Do you recommend adding 5 defenders?
Well, with the pneumonia, as I mentioned earlier, we actually recommend the cordyceps, which is more direct to the lungs, and will have a nice anti-cancer benefit as well in terms of lymphoma. And if you haven't started yet, then I would suggest you go for the 5 defenders and the cordyceps together, because the 5 defenders is probably a bit more specific for the lymphoma and the cordyceps more for the pneumonia. But I think both of them are good choices. If you really are stuck on turkey tail, you can certainly go with that as well. There is turkey tail in the 5 defenders.
Yeah, absolutely. Layla's Wolf is asking, she wants a reply. If I start Layla on Daily Dawg, should I carry on with the 5 defenders with my 18-year-old?
So I assume that your 18-year-old's different than Layla? Is that kind of what we can assume? Or no? Anyway, yes, certainly. Well, yes, I would do that as well, because especially right now, I think it'd be easier to get a higher dosage of the important mushrooms and protective factors just using the 5 defenders. So using them both, I think, is a really nice strategy.
Yeah, you could do one in the morning, like I do with my dog Scruffy, one in the morning and one in the evening. Just alternate them.
Yeah.
And then you're still getting the 5 defenders in the evening. You're just getting. So Layla is 18-year-old. 18 years. Yeah, it's her 18-year-old dog. Wow,
it's definitely at that age. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So highly recommend it. So the next question, can the powder be added and cooked in homemade dog treats?
It can be. You want to keep the temperature down if you're cooking them, baking them. Our extracts are very heat sensitive, but I really would not go higher than 250 to 300 degrees for baking, just to maintain full potency. But yeah, you certainly could use it in your home dog treats. You could put it in their daily food. If you do like a crock pot diet or another type of homemade diet. I tend to add a lot of water with my homemade diet for my dog to help keep them hydrated. Just throw it in there too. I think those are all good ways of getting it in there. Just get it in there. That's the important.
Yeah. However works. Oh. Barb is saying, I have never taken dogs to doggy daycare or dog parks and do not condone the kennel cough vaccine to it not being very effective and the danger of it. And I have never had sick dogs.
Well, thank you for sharing. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Everybody has, you have to go regarding vaccinations like kennel cough vaccine. You have to go with what your comfort level is. Everybody is different.
Yeah, and sometimes if you do wind up getting an animal who has a disease that could be vaccinated for, sometimes that kind of convinces people next time to get them vaccinated. But it's become a very personal choice, although it's a medical procedure, and not necessarily 100% safe. guaranteed,
Right.
but it can help many people. I worked doing house calls for a number of years in Colorado Springs, and I had one account where I would go to kennels just when the early kennel cough intranasal vaccine was created, and they had me vaccinate intranasally these dogs that came in that weren't vaccinated, and the kennel definitely had a reduction in the incidence of that disease.
Mhm.
But but it's your choice what you do
Yeah.
with your dog.
Yeah.
And we do
Yeah,
it.
and we don't judge. Everybody, like I said, everybody makes their own decision regarding
Mhm.
vaccination other than the core vaccines,
Sure.
and the ones that are,
Legal.
legally required in your state.
Yeah.
You have to, you have
Mhm.
to it's you're the parent, the caretaker, you make the decisions. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Um, let's go to the next question. Corey, my dog just had a mast cell tumor removed today. Recommended supplements. We are using turkey tail.
Turkey tail's good mushroom for cancer. Um, we've been recommending the five defenders for mast cell
Yeah.
tumors because of the reishi and chaga, which have terpenes in them that have antihistaminic properties as well as the benefit of the beta glucans. Um, but I think turkey tail, I understand you're using it because of because of its potency for cancer. So I think that would be fine as well. Mhm.
Yeah. If you wanted to add the five defenders or, that wouldn't be a bad idea either.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah,
Uh,
turkey tail is in the five defenders, so that's one reason why we think that
yeah,
would be a good blend for you.
yep. Yep. Tracy says, we have a 12-year-old pug. I give him one of the five defenders. What other mushrooms would you suggest to keep him young and active and a healthy heart, mind, and joints?
Cordyceps,
Oh,
and cordyceps.
okay. I was thinking lion's mane also.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure,
For an
that's
all,
good too. Absolutely.
yeah.
I just was thought the youthful aspect and the active
Well, that's
and
true.
the heart and the joints, but the mind part is good. And all mushrooms, as we've learned earlier this week in a class that Joni and I attended, all the mushrooms provide some level of mental support. It's interesting how
Right.
they can do that, and we
Right.
think, and so, but lion's mane most especially.
Yeah. And, for your 12-year-old pug, the Daily Dawg might be a good one because it does have
Yeah,
the lion's mane, the cordyceps, and the five defenders in it,
it,
along with
it
a lot
does.
of other really wonderful supportive products. And that's what's going to be so great is that's what it is a daily, it's something you can put in the bowl every single day, and for support. So she's asking just one capsule of each for a pug. I can't. Did she say how much her little pug weighed?
You can take 15 to 20
Yeah,
pounds,
I would
not
imagine.
generally. Um, the Daily Dog comes as a powder. So you
Mhm.
would just follow the directions on the label for his weight and scoop that powder, into his food in the morning. The five defenders, I'd probably go with a single capsule if you're combining that with Daily Dog for a small dog like that you're just trying to work it as a tonic versus trying to address anything.
Or adding if she decides to just add the cordyceps capsules like you suggested, just start with
Yeah.
one of
Now the cordyceps is really palatable, and you
yeah.
might find it easier to just use the powder. It'll be much more cost effective and last longer. And
Oh, her pug,
yeah,
28 pounds.
okay.
We're much bigger pug than we were anticipating.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Muscular probably.
a muscular pug. Yes, yes, yes. So, would you double that dose, or would you still stick with one capsule of each?
Well, we talked about the Daily Dog and cordyceps, right?
Yeah, well, she was also doing what was it? The
Five defenders.
defenders, yeah, and she was giving one five defenders, and then we talked about possibly adding one of either the cordyceps or the lion's mane. Then we moved on to Daily Dog. So
Mhm.
there's all kinds of options. We're all over the place.
Right. So, I think probably a capsule um, once a day of each of those would be a fine place to
Yeah,
start. And
yeah,
then, because we're not treating anything specifically other than healthiness, and then you can see how well he does, and you can bump it up a little bit. But I think that would be fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hope
And
that helps.
okay.
Um, Gary's asking, do you have time to repeat the higher dose of 5 Defenders capsules per pound?
Yeah, it was like an 1/8 to quarter teaspoon per 10 pounds of body weight. Twice daily would probably be the high end. Once daily would be moderate. Eighth teaspoon once daily per 10 pounds would be, kind of lower end, you know. So yeah. I hope
Okay.
that helps, Gary. Thank you for asking.
Hope that helps, Gary. Mel's asking, so 5 Defenders is better for mast cell tumor. She's been using the turkey tail at 2,000, at over 2,000
Mhm.
milligrams plus.
Well, we're because these mushrooms are so new in the veterinary realm, we don't actually have a study to support that they are active for mast cell tumors. Um, we use the fact that turkey tail has been historically used to treat cancer for many years. And the one study for a different type of cancer in dogs where it was pretty effective, not as effective as chemo, but almost as effective. Um, so we like the 5 Defenders because the 2 mushrooms that are in there that aren't turkey tail have antihistaminic properties, and mast cell tumors typically can engage because the system of allergies and histamine release. Mast cell tumors are the immune cells of allergies in dogs, and so oftentimes dogs who get mast cell tumors also have a history of chronic allergies, and so you wind up getting maybe a mutation of the mast cell tumors of the mast cells as they get active with the allergy. So yeah, I think the 5 Defenders is, I don't know about better, but I think it's more appropriate based on its antihistaminic properties and the fact that it still contains the turkey tail. Now the dosages, again, animals have a variety of different sizes, and so we have to dose based on size. Humans really have children and adults, so we have pretty clear cut how we dose, and actually there's a wide range of weights in humans, but we just dose it that way. We assume the average human weight's 150 pounds, which I don't think it is anymore. Um, so yeah, the 5 Defenders is better for mast cell tumors. If you wanted me to suggest a dosage of the 5 Defenders, I would need your weight, but if you look at the 5 Defenders powder and go with the 1/8 to quarter teaspoon once or twice daily per 10 pounds of body weight, I think you've got a pretty good idea of how much to give.
So would she be able to, if she's doing the turkey tail at about 2,000, could she just kind of do the 5 Defenders at that same amount?
Sure, absolutely.
Like if
Yeah, it's a 2,000.
at that amount, she's 68 pounds.
Yeah, 2,000 milligrams should be a full teaspoon. That's a lot. That's
Yeah.
good. I assume it's a fairly large dog.
68 pounds.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
moderate to medium.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, and Lorraine, just the name, was it Greg Tilford you mentioned, who has
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
apothecary?
Animal apothecary. It's spelled APAW, like a paw, apothecary. And the larger company is called Animal Essentials, so you can find it either way.
Yeah, and it's Greg Tilford, Tilford.
Mhm. He's
Yeah.
a human herbalist, but he's been a great resource for animals, for
Yep.
pets.
Yep. Okay, so 2 capsules of 5 Defenders would equate to how much of the Daily Dog?
Well, I don't know that you can equate the two because they are different sorts of formulas.
Yeah.
2 capsules of the 5 Defenders would be for, and I assume you're talking about the pet-sized capsules, would be for about 20 pounds of body weight, 20 to 30 pounds of body weight. So we would have to see, and I don't know off the top of my head how our dosing for the Daily Dog, but I think it's fairly similar. I'd have to look that up.
Right.
So
But there's just more ingredients in the Daily Dog, so there's,
there are.
yeah.
And so it's a rounded teaspoon for every 20 to 40 pounds of body weight is that dosage.
Yeah. Okay. Hope that helps. So Rebecca's saying, my dog came down with a bad cough back in September before much was being said about this mystery illness. He was on 2 rounds of antibiotics, but was still coughing. I added 5 defenders and N-acetylcysteine to his diet, and he finally recovered. Just got my Daily Dawg and started that as a preventative. Thank you for creating. Awesome.
N-acetylcysteine is a brilliant choice.
Yeah,
it's not most people don't really know about how good it is for these things.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's a great choice. And yay, glad you got your Daily Dawg. We did a special offer during a Black Fur Day that Poppy Phillips did, and we offered the Daily Dawg. So a couple lucky people got their hands on some bottles of it. And Rebecca, I'm so glad that you did. I hope you're enjoying it. Yay. I think that's our first person who's actually has a bottle in hand. Rebecca, I think you're the very first person that's not part of the Real Mushroom staff that's gotten it internally, that's commented on Daily Dawg that actually has it. So yay. Grijalva, I hope I didn't mangle your name, says my lab is 100 pounds. Do you agree 1 human capsule? In Mexico, the Pets line isn't available. So you would probably want to do more than 1 capsule for a 100-pound dog. That's the human capsule.
Yeah, I'm figuring this one out.
Yeah. And we don't know which mushroom it is, but luckily the dosage chart is universal for all of them.
Yeah, so where'd we go? Oh, I lost you there for a second.
Oh, and Paulette got her bottle of Daily Dawg. Yeah, it's out there. How exciting. Sorry. Turkey tail. Sorry.
So I'm not sure what you're treating in your lab, and specifically which mushroom it is, but I would say that for a 100-pound dog, you'd be better, and with a moderate dosage, you'd probably be better with 2 to 3 capsules a day.
Yeah. She says it's turkey tails and 5 defenders, and she's treating lymphoma.
Yeah, I would say 2 capsules twice daily of each of those for something like that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Good luck with that, Grijalva. LH says, my yellow lab gets a swollen face and difficulty breathing with all his vaccines. Would the mushrooms help him with that too?
You might want to consider not vaccinating if they have that kind of reaction. I don't know if you've heard about vaccine titers, where we do a blood draw to check to see if the animal has protection. If they do, then we don't vaccinate. That would be preferred. That would be the best prevention. And if you have been vaccinating him for a while, I'm sure he's got protection for everything that you're vaccinating him for. Maybe if there's local lepto risk, you might need to do that. So would the vaccines help him with that? My suggestion would be to precondition him with the mushrooms, help him with that. I would precondition him with the mushrooms for about a month before you're planning to have the vaccinations, if you plan to have them again. But I think the titer is a really good solution for a dog that has that kind of reaction to it. And really, if he has that kind of reaction to vaccines, he probably has a little bit of the allergy in him anyway. So I think you'd be good to get him on mushrooms on a regular basis to train his immune system to be less reactive.
Yeah. And, depending on what state you're in, like different states have different requirement for vaccines, but many states will allow you to get a titer. And if the dog's titers show that there's enough of the vaccine in the system, your vet can write a note, that basically can exempt your dog from having to get vaccinated.
Yeah, you can't legally waive the rabies vaccination, but you can try to talk to your local folks. It depends on really what the local risk is. And rabies is really spreading. We used to never have rabies in Colorado, and now it's regularly here.
Yeah. Here in Virginia too. It's like and I'm really, it's tough because my little dog Scruffy, I live in the middle of, I live in the woods, and we go out walking, and, she could, there are many rabid animals around. So it's definitely, I'm looking at the rabies vaccine in a very different way than I was when I was in Berkeley, California with, really no risk of her coming in contact with
But if
rabies.
you live in a rural area like Joni does, where there's probably no animal control, then really what you're looking at is protecting the dog from rabies. And so doing a titer, even though it's not legally valid, gives you a better sense of security that if there is a rabid skunk or rabid fox or rabid bat in your area, that your dog is relatively protected from that, if you titer it and see that it has protection for that. And again, the mushrooms will help to improve the amount of that titer and the duration of that titer. So it's really recommended to precondition with mushrooms before you vaccinate, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you want to mention that kind of briefly, that interesting oyster mushroom vaccine study that was done, one of the few clinical studies with dogs.
Yeah, I think we covered that in a prior meeting here, but there was a study, actually there's two studies now, and there was a study in Eastern Europe that found that that when they had shelter puppies that were immune compromised, many of them would not develop protective immunity for rabies, and some were even delayed with their protection from parvovirus. But if they preconditioned them for a month before the vaccine, they all got protection. And then there was another study done in the US in which they found that that beta glucans, which are found in mushrooms, in this case, they took the beta glucans from protozoa and used them by injection. And they even found in that context that they were able to provide benefit in terms of protective titers for rabies. So definitely.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good, there's a lot of actual data pointing to the benefits of utilizing mushrooms, around the vaccination process. If you do decide to vaccinate or have to, I just have to give a shout out to the Virginia people. People are saying, I'm in Virginia too. I'm in Buckingham, Virginia. So I'm an hour south of Charlottesville. And I want to give a shout out to Kim Davis, who's on tonight, who owns Natural Pet Essentials in Charlottesville, Virginia, the best pet store on the planet. Although Nautical Dog, also in Virginia, in Williamsburg, Virginia, I got to give a shout out to Amanda Wilburn at Nautical Dog as well, because she's awesome. So anyway,
it's weird that we have such a large representation from Virginia.
I know, it's like random, but there's a lot of Virginia people. So
yeah.
And Layla's Wolf, yes, of course, you can always share anything that we post ever. You're welcome to share on your blog. We do this. We do these lives to get information out about mushrooms. That's why, Doc Rob is generous enough to come on. He's got an hour and a half of meetings. He heads up the Veterinary Botanical Medicine Association. You are still the president, right? Or
actually, now I'm past president, so okay. I'm actually going to send them a little note when we finish here, saying I'm a little late. I'll be on in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I can have some dinner.
So Rob comes with us, pet parents and dog lovers, and then he's going to go hang out with the veterinarians after he hangs up with us for another hour and a half or so. Meanwhile, his cat ate his dinner. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
a little bit, only a little bit.
Yeah, there's enough left for me and my wife. Not much, but yeah, the cats are really a problem.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I just let's say Facebook. I always thought capsules were better, but powder is fine. No fear of oxidation.
Not really. I mean, the powders should be kept in a fairly sealed container. We, the pouches I think are nice because they're we can recycle them, and they're not plastic, but they don't provide the same kind of protection from the air. The Daily Dawg is coming in a little container, and the next generation of powder blends we're going to create will also come in containers like that, which will be better as far as preserving. But there's no reason you can't take a little ball jar, which I do anyway, because I found those pouches really hard to get in there, and my fingers get all powder in them.
Yeah.
So I put them in a ball jar and I keep it sealed. And I put a little label on it so I know what it is, and put a little scoop in there, and then I can take it myself or give it to my dog, or give it to my stupid cats, you know.
Yep. And these, the jars, what I like is it's got the desiccant in it too. You know, it's that little.
Take the desiccant from the pouch and put it in your ball jar.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it comes in the Daily Dawg too. So, so that helps as well. Well, guess what? We are out of time and we got to let you head on to, hang out with the veterinarians, but we do want to remind, we've talked about Daily Dawg a lot in this live, which is great. And we are launching on December 18th. We're going to be doing a second Facebook Live this month, just about the Daily Dawg, where Doc Rob's going to go through the list of ingredients and why he put them in there, etc. That's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern time on December 18th. And just a little hint, those of you that follow Dr. Judy Morgan, I hear a rumor that she might be getting a little sneak peek to this product. And so keep an eye out if she decides to do a warehouse tour or something like that next week. Can't say anything for sure, but there you go. So thank you, Doc Rob, for all of your wisdom. And Jordan Swain, our customer service manager behind the scenes, as I've said before, next year we're going to be dragging her out from the back. Jordan is a wealth of knowledge about our mushroom products, about pets. She's amazing. You know, she's just amazing, and is definitely going to give me a run for my money, which I am excited for her to do. So until the 18th, Monday the 18th.
So I'd like to say something.
Sure.
We in the comments, we have a link to this document, and I would suggest you download it because not only do we talk about what the situation is with the disease, but there also I've also have suggestions as far as real mushroom products and other things that you can give to help support the immune system.
Right.
So, and it has the dosages written down.
Right. Yeah. In fact, Jordan, would you mind posting that link again at the bottom just for people that came in late, so that they have it? Although, because I know, well, I guess it shows up on all, because we're on different platforms. I guess that link shows up on all the different platforms. There you go. Thank you. All righty. Well, have a good rest of your evening, everybody. And we'll see you soon.
Take care. See you on the 18th.
Yeah, on the 18th.